Well, here we are on our 6th episode, Keith.
It is, yeah. Doing all right, aren't we?
Doing all right with the Gods of Monsters, as we've now become known as, Gods of Rock. Got a good one today. We've got our mate Daz popping on later. Singer-songwriter, was the frontman of Back in Black AC/DC Tribute. But we're also doing a bit of a two-parter this week, aren't we, Keith? But this episode.
It could be a three-parter the way when I look at the list of stuff we've got here. But yeah, definitely a two-parter, Viv. Definitely.
Well, I'm looking at Keith's list. We'll still be doing this at Christmas. And it's debut albums, Keith.
Yeah. Favourite debut albums. Not an exhaustive list, but it feels like that. Yeah, our favourite debut albums by some of our favourite bands. What have you got?
Well, I've gone for, if I'm honest with you, I did thought about it and I thought, there's hundreds, right? So I've gone for ones that actually I was around at the time when they came out.
Right, yeah, okay.
Got them.
Yeah.
And then it changed. You know, it changed the way I thought about that band, or it moved me into a different place, you know.
I'm with you.
So...
Yeah, mine. Yeah, I bought a lot of these when they first came out, but there's a few as well that were even before my time. So it shows you how old some of them must be, and some I've bought later of bands that I was around when they started. But so go on. What's your first?
My first one, and it's sort of a underrated album, I think, and not many people know it really. But it was Motorhead's first album.
Okay, Motorhead. On the Chiswick label.
On the Chiswick label. Yeah,
can't argue with that.
So,
it's not on my list, but I've got it. It's a great album.
Yeah. So interesting. Out in '77, as Keith said, Chiswick, and what I remember about the album was they were going to do a live recording at the venue in London, Marquee.
Okay,
Marquee.
So that narrows it down.
That narrows it down, doesn't it?
London, yeah.
Yeah, the Albert Hall. No, that. And because basically Lemmy was going to knock it on the head. They'd had a year and a half of Motorhead, and it wasn't going anywhere.
Okay,
right.
Was that before they released the album?
Yeah. Well, this is so. What they were going to do is, mate who worked at Chiswick Records said, "Look, let's just get a recording crew down there. Let's record it. If for nothing else, you've not wasted a year and a half. We've got something." But then the Marquee wanted, I think it wasn't a lot, but it would have been like at the time was £500 to do a live recording, and they couldn't fucking afford it, so they pulled a few favours in, and they got a weekend deal at a studio, so they recorded that album over a weekend, and like everybody was off their tits on speed.
What, Motorhead?
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
It is,
it's hard to believe.
Yeah, I never guessed that.
But because they couldn't afford to sleep, they had 2 days.
Ah, right, okay.
And they only had 3 tracks or 4 tracks, so they had to just write on the spot and do it, write on the spot and do it. But I think for me is why I liked that album, and why when I first heard it, just fell for it really is. So you've got obviously the Motorhead track that Lemmy wrote with Paul Quint, you know, all that sort of stuff. Vibrator, White Line Fever and stuff. But for me, it was that bit of... It felt like, so if you had one freight train with punk in, one freight train with rock music in, and just fucking rode them at each other at 100 mile an hour, you came.
That's what you got, yeah.
For me, that perfect blend of the music of the time, you know. So that's in my debut album Hall of Fame.
Okay, righto. Well,
yeah, you weren't going to pick that one, were you?
No, I don't know. It occurred to me, and it was one I certainly thought about. But I thought, I was pretty sure you'd pick it as well. I must be honest. I didn't think there was much doubt about it. Okay, I'm gonna go. I don't know where to start here. I'll tell you where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Dr. Feelgood's debut, Down by the Jetty.
What year?
75? 74?
Can't remember the year.
Yeah, so I think it might have 74 or 75. Anyway, doesn't matter. And I mean, I got put onto the band by a lad I was in tech with, John Roberts. You know John?
Yeah.
Jack, is he? No.
The barrister.
Yeah. And he'd heard them. And I was on holiday. I think it must be with my folks down in Torquay. And I saw it in the racks there. I thought, I'm going to buy that. And took it home. It was in mono.
Yeah.
And it was just something totally different to what I'd been listening to. And so I think it starts off with She Does It Right. It's an absolute classic.
Yeah.
Great live version of, I think it's Route 66 and Boney Maroney.
Yeah.
Last track on side 2. Roxette.
Yeah.
And just so much good stuff on it. I mean, I think that was the first time a lot of people had heard Wilco.
Yeah.
Although he'd been around for quite a while in various bands, and he'd actually played for a guy called Hines there was a big rock and roll festival at Wembley in about 73, 72, who knows. And he played guitar for him then. And there are photos of it. And Wilco's got long hair.
Right.
Yeah, and he was, what's his name?
He still had the same mannerisms, though, when he was playing.
I don't know. There are only photos. I'm not seeing any live footage of it. But he was called, his name then was John Wilkinson.
Right.
Then he turned it round to Wilco Johnson. So yes, it was a great album. And yeah, I think for 3 or 4 years they were the dog's bollocks, really. Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
Followed it up with Malpractice. Then there was the live album Stupidity. It was a tour I saw them on, and Sneaking Suspicion.
Right.
Then it all ended. I'm not sure if that's chronologically right. It could have been Sneaking Suspicion and then Stupidity, but we won't split hairs over such a thing. But yeah, great album.
I'd say there's a track of theirs when it comes up on my playlist, which is, the old classic rock and roll, See You Later, Alligator.
Yeah.
When that comes up, I don't know what it is about that song. I end up putting it on loop about 30 times. Mm-hmm. It's just got a great vibe.
Yeah, I've heard them do that. I think it was one of the later versions. I mean, they're still going. No original members.
No.
Saw them 12, 18 months ago in Town Hall in Llan.
Yeah.
And they were okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I've not seen them for about, I would probably say, might be 20 years now. But lucky enough, both of us to see them in their prime.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it was 1976 Liverpool Empire. Went to see them, and it was superb.
Yeah,
it really was.
I think my cousin Simon used to drink with him a lot because Wilco lived in Oxford Street for a while.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he often tells the stories of him in there. I think it's called the Bull. Is it a pub called the Bull in Oxford Street?
Don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But
not sure.
I know he tells the story of that. So my second one on the list, probably again, is not going to come as any surprise, but Never Mind the Bollocks.
Yeah.
77, as we know. But I think it's that thing when you look back at that album now, it
was a game changer, wasn't it?
Oh, but it was dead right for how the country was.
Yeah.
It was right for how everybody was feeling, the angst and everything in there. The way that album cover, was designed. Jamie Reid.
He's just passed, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was reading something about it 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm saying that he died.
Yeah. So I listen to that album once, twice a week. Still,
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. Fucking yeah! I can't get enough of it, and the energy is still there.
Yeah. I bought it. I think I bought it around the Christmas of the year it was released.
Right.
And I think I got it from Moonlight Records. If it was Moonlight then, it might have been another shop that was up that end of town. Could even have been Rabbit Records.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great album.
Yeah, but you got God Save the Queen. Also worth catching Motorhead's version of that.
I've not heard it. Okay.
That's
about versions Motorhead. Did you get to hear their version of Heroes?
Yes.
So they played after Bowie died.
Yeah.
Oh, superb.
Yeah.
You'd never think, would you?
No.
Really?
It's an album of their covers, right? Which is, and they've got some belters on there. The one that is an absolute fucking roller coaster to ride is Sympathy of the Devil.
Ah, yeah, I've heard about that. I've not heard them do it.
Yeah, they do Starstruck by Rainbow.
Okay.
Yeah, not Stargazer,
Yeah,
Starstruck.
Starstruck.
The early ones really good. Yeah, they got some great covers
I'll
on
have to
there.
read that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway, yeah, Pistols. Yeah, it wasn't a bad track on it, was there?
no, Anarchy, Pretty Vacant, Bodies,
Babies.
Submission.
Oh, Bodies, that was it.
Bodies.
Babies.
Yeah, but they started off as babies.
Yeah.
And then they grew into Bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Holders in the Sun. But for me, yeah, it was that was the album, I think. On the Motorhead album at the time, I just thought, this is how I want my, this is how heavy and raw I want my music,
And you still feel that way about it as well?
100%. Both with Motorhead and Pistols.
Right, I'm going to go for the obvious one here, especially those people who know me. Got Ian Hunter's first album.
Yes.
Absolute belter. Once Bitten, Twice Shy, him and Mick Ronson. A lot of stuff he'd obviously written when he was with Mott the Hoople. They'd split, so it never got used, and he decided, obviously, he was putting that album out and using a lot of that stuff. And it's just a great album. Ronson is absolutely unbelievable on it. Some great tracks on it. I get so excited. Ain't Easy When You Fall. The Truth, The Whole Truth, Nothing But the Truth. Just wonderful, wonderful songs. And there's a poem on it. I'm going to tell you a little story here called Shades Off.
Yeah.
And I went to see the Ramp Band in London earlier this year, which is his backing band.
Right.
But he wasn't with them. He's got tinnitus, and so he didn't travel. But they had Alejandra Escovedo on vocals, and it was all right. But they did Shades Off, the poem. And the comedian Rich Hall?
Yeah.
He did it. He was in the audience.
Did he?
And he got on stage and he did it. Now, I'd met up with a few of my old mates from London who I hadn't seen in years. We'd had a few beers. And so Rich Hall's got up and he started to recite Shades Off. And I started to recite it with him. Not as quietly as I thought I was doing. And he starts laughing. I'm thinking, oh no, shit. Then anyway, I just keep going, and he keeps going. And when it finishes, it goes into I get so excited, and it's this big riff. Of course, it finishes. I start mimicking the riff.
Yeah.
And he's loving it, and I'm thinking, oh shit! I just felt, oh no. Anyway, he came off the stage, and I said, oh, sorry. He said, oh, it's great, man, it was great, and blah blah blah. And I was chatting with him after, and a huge fan, obviously.
Yeah.
Had a photo taken with him, and I tell you who else was in the audience. And I was at Bush Hall in Shepherd's Bush.
Right.
Bobby Gillespie.
Right.
From Primal Scream was in the audience, and I learned a very big life lesson. Well, I was that night, because I had selfies with both of them. I can't do selfies. No.
Why? What's the...
I can't concentrate on looking at a phone and operating a phone at the same time.
And stood next to a hero.
Bobby Gillespie and Rich Hall, yeah. So no, a great album. Hunter's first album was superb. I don't think he's bettered it. Maybe with You're Never Alone with the Schizophrenic, that came close. Yeah. And another one of his albums I like is called Ian Hunter's Dirty Laundry, which is one of his comeback album in the mid-90s, which he did with members of the Boys.
Right.
Honest John Plain, Daryl Bath, guy called Casino Steel. It was recorded in Norway. Had a Norwegian producer, and it was almost like that's where he reinvented himself, if you like. So that's
quick question on that, because I don't know nowhere near enough about Ian Hunter and Mott the Hoople. So that book with Ronson and stuff like that, did they ever go on tour then?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I saw them on the YU Iorta tour. Remember the Manchester International?
Yeah.
Saw them there. Then the night after, or a couple of nights after, saw them in the Nottingham Rock City.
Right.
We were right up against the barrier, and Ronson was there right in front of us.
Wow.
But then I might have mentioned it in one of the earlier podcasts. A couple of months or so later, I was gone down to stay with my sister, and we'd gone to Worthing for the day. And I'm walking along the promenade, and as she come up, I could see a group of about 7 or 8 blokes, and just sort of, yeah, looks like Ian Hunter, that. Thought nothing of it. It was Ian Hunter.
Was it?
And Mick Ronson.
Fucking hell.
Walking up the prom. Of course, it was phones and all that, so he had never walked around with a camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to meet them both on the promenade at Worthing. Yeah, top blokes.
Yeah.
But Ronson very, very quiet.
Yeah.
Quite a shy bloke. And when you read about him, he was.
Yeah.
He didn't really. I mean, he could have ruled the world as a guitarist.
Yeah, and his ideas.
But I was reading Hunter's. There's a couple of biographies out and on Ian Hunter, and he was saying he used to do stuff for nothing. He worked with I think it was Honeycrack, who were a break-off band from the Wild Arts.
Right.
Or it might have been the Wild Arts. Played on a track called My Baby Is a Headfuck. But he produced the album for them. And I'm sure Hunter said he never even asked for any money half the time. Just happy to be involved in music. And,
yeah, just musicians.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Well, I've got another here, which again is another unsung hero. Is Priest's first album, Rock and Roller.
Got the single.
Have you?
Believe it or not, yes, on Gull Records.
Right.
Yeah. Nicked it.
Did you? For the record shop in Worcester.
Students, yeah. Me mate put it under his Afghan. No, I'm ashamed to say, from the Students' Union office at Tech.
Right.
Well, I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Like, you know, the Motorhead's first album really is. You know, if you're going to get into Motorhead, you get into Bomber, don't you? You get into Overkill, and you claw your way in that way, don't you? But again, this Priest one, if you go back and listen to it now, it's nothing like Priest. But it hints, you know, where
what was to come,
yeah. So it's a lot sort of melodic, it's slower, but you know, that guitar sound is still there, his voice is still there. You know, and there's some standout tracks on that as well. So that is always a belter to, you know, to get back into and dive
so I
into.
heard, must have been the Scorpions. I'm not a fan of the Scorpions, I must be honest. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I heard one of their very early albums. Is it Virgin Killers? Fucking awful name. I think it was that, or it might have been another one. But it was actually quite good.
Right,
Actually quite like it, because it didn't have it wasn't overproduced. He wasn't whistling.
Yeah.
and I thought it was a good album.
Yeah.
But I still sold it. But yeah, a lot of this stuff it never really.
I liked a couple of the earlier, you know, Scorpions. And I've
I think
seen
we saw
loads
them at Reading.
Yeah, I've seen them loads of times, and I've gone to see them and stuff. But you know, to me, I think of that. You know, those two bands I always sort of compare, the Scorpions and UFO, and for me it's UFO.
Yeah, same here.
You know, all the way down the line.
Played. I'm not sure if they didn't play the Nebworth the Purple did in '84. I'm sure they did, but don't really recall them.
No. Oh, It's Okay Tapes was good. Yeah, but I think for me it's weird. The times I've seen them where they've been the main act and UFO been the support.
Righto.
It's almost like once you've seen UFO, then you might as well go home because it ain't getting any better.
No, absolutely
for the rest
not.
of the night. So
No, good live band.
yeah. Yeah, so Priest, get into that one. Give it a crack.
I will do. I will
Give it a whirl.
I will put it on my phone and play it in my car. Bum 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 bum. What about Bad Company's first album?
Oh, yes.
Bad Co. Again, I think that was as good as they got for me. I've heard Straight Shooter, Burning Sky. Nothing touches that first album.
Yeah.
Great opening track. But I must be honest, you sort of listen to the lyrics these days and you think, ooh, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But it's still a great album. You know, moving on, I think isn't it Seagull?
Yeah.
I think, you know, some Ready for Love, Mick Ralph's song that he's actually done on All the Young Dudes with Mott the Hoople. So there's just so much good stuff on it. But there was a band I didn't see till, oh God, what were you now, 2023? Probably around 2010.
Right.
2011, something like that. I never actually saw them back in the day.
Yeah, I saw them at... I can't remember now. It was either the Empire or the Apollo. Yeah, like back in the day.
I never got to see them.
Saw them.
Yeah, when I saw them, Joe Perry was supporting.
Right.
Aerosmith guitarist. And it was in the Manchester Arena. It's all a bit...
That's arena thing, isn't
it? It is. There's nothing much you can do about it, you know, but they were all right.
Yeah. I think we've got an arena gig on Friday with Liverpool with Echo and the Bunnymen.
Oh, yeah, you're going to see them, aren't you? Yeah, McCulloch and his
with the
band of Merry Men.
Yeah, so...
Oh, that'll be all right, won't it?
Good. So, this is a stonker. Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
1980.
First album.
Yeah,
obviously it's the first album. Yeah. That's what we're talking about tonight, folks. Debut albums. Well spotted, Keith. It's all right.
Well done. I'm glad one of us is listening. But yeah, let's just Running Free. Great bass riff. Transylvania, once used on a Lucas Aid advert with Daley Thompson.
Yes.
If you remember that, that was good. Phantom of the Opera. But for me, what I like is Paul Di'Anno. For me, is the voice of Iron Maiden.
I think it is for those people who got into them.
I suppose like the Bon Scott, the Brian Johnson thing, isn't it?
See, I didn't get into Maiden until Bruce Dickinson joined them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I guess it's. I mean, for me, it's, Purple will always be Gillan.
Yeah.
And I get where you're coming from with Maiden.
Yeah, I think it's what band when you get into when you discovered them, you know. But for me, so we saw Paul Di'Anno a few years back at one of these things in Prestatyn.
I know, HRH things,
yeah. And I just like his voice, I like him live, and I think we're seeing him next month.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's supporting KK Steel.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
You're going to see that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up at the Apollo, I think.
While we're talking about Maiden vocalists, I was reading the other night about Blaze Bayley.
Right.
Who had a spell with them after Bruce left. And there you go, there's an album I've missed out on. Wolfsbane's first album.
Yeah, do you know what?
That is an absolute snorter. Anyway, I digress. This is your turn.
No, I've done my turn. Now, I'm trying to think where I met Blaze Bayley. It would have been with Crusher. And it would be somewhere like either Garlic and Shot or the Intrepid Fox or something like that.
Are they pubs?
Yeah,
That's surprising.
Good rock pubs.
Yeah.
Good rock pubs. Yeah, it would have been one of those places, something like that, or some of the arse end of Wardour Street, or somewhere where Crusher.
Yeah, good band, Wolfsbane. That
Yeah.
first album's an absolute, as I say, it's an absolute belter.
Do you know, I don't think I've heard it, so...
All right, that's
so
worth... put it on the notepad.
It's on my notepad, it's going on.
There's a good lad.
Just on here, I've written a band you mentioned earlier, Empire State Bastard.
Oh, yes. There's some Simon Neal out of Biffy Clyro. The Biffy Clyro bass player, whose name eludes me at the moment, and Dave Lombardo had a Slayer 3-piece debut album, Rivers of Heresy. Worth a listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch that.
Different. It's not like nothing like Biffy Clyro.
Yeah.
Don't expect Biffy Clyro. There are snippets of him singing as he sings with Biffy Clyro.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's coming right from deep in the throat.
Right.
And I don't know how he does it. You need the lyrics.
Yeah.
You can't understand a fucking word he's saying.
You've got to read the back of the album as he's singing along.
It's growing on me.
Yeah.
Big time.
I'll catch that.
I saw you released it, so I ordered the vinyl, and I like to go for these little packs. They do.
Yeah,
so you get an autograph poster, 7-inch single with a couple of demo versions of a couple of the songs on it. First track on it, Harvest, absolute snorter.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't remember the tracks. As I say, I've not had it long, and I do find these days when I buy albums, when I was younger, I'd know every track, every lyric.
Yeah.
Half the albums I buy these days. Yeah. You listen to them. I don't say you put them away, but I don't always remember the names of the songs.
Do you know, I tell you what I get now. We'll get back onto debut albums in a sec. I find now that even bands, I've known all my life, I'll have a minute when I have to think, right, who was the bloody drummer in Purple? Oh, fucking Ian Picos, it would be a knob. Yeah.
Oh no, it's that's how it is, isn't it?
But you know, we've had like 40 odd years of having our ears blasted in front of Marshall
probably
Stacks.
more than that.
Yeah. I think we can give ourselves a bit of
credit.
Go a bit lenient on ourselves.
Yeah, is it my go or your go?
No, it's yours.
All right,
mate.
go on then. This is it. Black Crowes, Shake Your Money Maker, first album.
Yeah.
Probably, possibly, maybe my favourite ever debut album.
Right.
Absolutely love it. Again, not a bad track on it. Jealous Again, Faster, just so much good stuff on it. She Talks to Angels. Yeah, just can't go wrong. Remember seeing them on, I don't think it was Crusher, but he used to do a show in the middle of the night back in the 90s called The Power Hour.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
But I think he did that for a bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I think on this one, you used to have a woman who did it. So you'd set your video.
Set your video for the time?
You did. But 3 o'clock in the morning when it was on, because I wasn't in by then on a Friday, so I'd miss it. Get up the next morning and you'd watch it.
Yeah.
And I'd read about this band, the Black Crowes. It must have been in Sounds, or Kerrang even probably then. And on they came, just playing live somewhere or whatever. Maybe the video for Jealous Again. That was it. First riff, first few bars, sold.
That's a belting track.
It was everything I'd been missing since the Faces had split up.
Yeah.
Everything I'd been missing since the Stones had probably recorded It's Only Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And it was just,
So how many times have you seen them live then?
I don't know. Probably double figures.
Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely double figures. But I've seen them, in the States, in Amsterdam. 5 or 6 different venues over here. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen them.
Great
Never
band.
seen them.
Great band. Still go. I think they're out on tour support for Aerosmith in America.
Right.
Aerosmith's final tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I wouldn't mind seeing them if they...
No. Yeah, it's... I've had the pleasure to meet... I had a lovely chat actually with Rich Robinson in Amsterdam. When we gone over to see them, he was there with his wife and pushing his kids around in a pushchair.
You just bumped into them on the street?
Did, on one of the bridges over the canals. And we had a really nice chat. Know so much about this area, believe it or not. Knew about the parish church and Elijah Gale. And he'd posted something on Facebook. I can't remember if it might be before or after I met him. And there was a photo from the top of Crow Castle.
Was there?
In Llangollen. Yeah. And he'd been in Llan. Travelling from Ireland to do a show in Manchester.
Yeah.
When he was doing a solo thing.
Yeah. It's a great person. I remember reading an article with Ian Anderson.
Yeah.
And he was saying one of his favourite places to go walking is Land's End. And he'll go at least once a year.
Yeah.
Up there and...
Yeah, they all have a favourite place. I know Nicky Wire loves the Mannix bass player. Somewhere down in southwest Wales where we go, near Solva. He likes going there. He does a load of walking. I suppose these guys, they live such busy lives.
Yeah,
they
just to step back and take a day out and not have to think.
Yeah.
And
you can imagine Ian Anderson wandering around Land's End, can't you?
There's floats and a lot of sheep following him. Like.
Yeah, so there you are. That's another one of me, as I say, quite possibly my favourite debut album, Shake Your Money Maker.
Well, the next one I'm going to talk about, I think we'll both end up talking about this one, is Montrose.
It's here. I've got it.
Have you got it?
It's on here. Bad Motor Scooter, Space Station number 5.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I played it last week because I was doing this and I thought, God, I haven't played that for years. What an album.
Oh, yeah.
See, I so much prefer Hagar on this album than anything he did with Van Halen.
Yeah.
Again, personal choice.
Yeah.
But it's just such a good album.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely knockout, isn't it? Everything on
it is.
It's stand out.
Absolutely.
Stand out. And I was looking at the album the other day because I was thinking about it. It's in my list. So I made a note here because I didn't realise that Ronnie Montrose done work with Van Morrison and Herbie Hancock.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, before he
Yeah.
set Montrose up.
Yeah.
So there's some good heritage there straight out the
Oh,
gate,
there are,
isn't
aren't
there?
there? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fucking belting album, that. And again, you know, Space Station number 5. I must still listen to that once, twice a week again.
Really?
Yeah, still.
No, it is. It's an absolute. It's another belting album.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I don't know how that one came into. So what I tell you, what I was doing, we'd come up with this idea, and I suppose it was over the course of about 3 or 4 days. I just sort of start putting the odd album down, and I thought Montrose, and a great album. I might have seen something about them somewhere, or something triggered a memory. And so I'd got about 7 to 9, 10 albums down. I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll Google best debut albums.
Yeah.
Or, or whatever. And I think that most of the ones I got were on that list.
Was it?
Yeah. I thought, so I think there are constants, aren't there?
Yeah.
There are albums that are recognised as being great debut albums, and I'm not sure any of those I've talked about so far are actually on that list. Were actually on the list. So obviously, when I saw that, I thought, well, yeah, I agree with most of this, but I want to try and move away a little bit from the ones everybody, Sabbath's first, Zeppelin's first, New York Dolls, the Underground, Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
They're on here, and we maybe talk about them next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are standards, aren't there?
Yeah.
So I wanted a Montrose. Actually, that was on the list. Montrose.
Was it?
Yes, it was. I think it might have been Rolling Stones top 50 debut albums, or classic rocks top 50. And that, obviously, if that was classic rock, that is going to be on it.
Yeah.
No, great album. The second album, was it Paper Money? I used to have, but it wasn't a patch on the first album.
No, I think...
Apparently they were falling out.
Were they?
Montrose and Hagar weren't getting on. And I think, I was reading up on it, something about Ronnie Montrose wanted Hagar to sing a certain song. He said, I'm not singing it, it's shit. I refused to sing it. So Ronnie Montrose sang it. And that was like, apparently the beginning of the end for Montrose.
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you undo Montrose, you need to the first album, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people would argue that with a lot of bands.
Yeah.
So you don't need the first album.
Yeah.
Everything was... And when you think about it, these guys who had maybe, who knows, 20 odd years to think everything up for the first album.
Yeah.
I guess that's where that difficult second album thing comes from.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you've used all those ideas you've had as a teenager and you've been sort of running through your mind for years and years. Then all of a sudden you've got 12 months to come up with
the next one.
With the next album.
Or 2 days in Lemmy's case.
In Lemmy's case, 2 days without sleep. Yeah.
So my probably next one there should probably be my last one for this week. Got slated when it came out, which was Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, the first Rainbow
album.
Yeah, got slated.
Did it?
Yeah, absolutely slated by a lot of the press. Said lackluster.
It didn't have a great production, did it?
No. But for me, it got me straight into them, and it's nowhere near the.
No, it's not.
It's nowhere near as good as Rock and Roll or Stargaze. Any of that sort of stuff. It's not. But still MSAD's on there. Don't like Rock and Roll. Man on the Silver Mountain. Just
because I didn't hear that album till after On Stage.
Right.
At least I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And when I bought it and listened to it, everything, the stuff that's on Stage seems really slow.
Yeah.
And it is. They play it a lot slower. So for me, it was a bit like, it's not as good, this.
Yeah.
But I've listened to it in the wrong order.
Yeah. Start with that. But I remember I spent about a month on the back of my bedroom door. I'd painted the album cover, the guitar as the castle, the full length of it, and just spent fucking ages on it to get it right, And then after that, the next one I'd done, I had Rising painted on my roof.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the Sistine Chapel of GOR006
of Rainbow.
Of Rainbow, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, then. Well, I'll come up with my last album. And I am going to go with an album I'm listening to in the car at the moment.
What's that?
I don't know if you remember a woman called Joan Osborne.
No, don't know.
Right, mid-90s, had a single called One of Us.
Right.
Which you would probably know if
I'd
you
know
heard
the
it.
single would have heard, yeah.
And the album's called Relish. And it's an absolutely great album. She covers Bob Dylan on it. Man in the Long Black Coat. Obviously she had the single, One of Us. Let's Get Naked, which is very much in the sort of Lucinda Williams vein. Raunchy vocals. She got a good band behind her. Not really sure what happened. I'm not saying she sank without trace, but the last I heard was about 4 or 5 years ago. She'd hooked up with a band that had Steve Gorman, the Black Crowes ex-drummer, drumming for them, in a band which, God, I just so wish I'd thought of this name. Trigger Hippie.
Trigger Hippie.
Yeah. And there was something going on with it. I don't think they recorded anything, I've no idea. But it's just a lost classic. It is an absolutely brilliant album.
I've never heard it. Never even heard of her, to be honest.
No, you'd know the single if you heard it. I'm sure you would.
Where's she from then? Is it
America.
America.
Yeah. And it's just got a really nice laid back bluesy rock type feel to it. She's got a great voice. Sings pretty much from the throat, if you like.
Yeah.
And highly recommended. So go out and buy it.
We will.
But we don't buy things these days, do we? Or some of us don't. But
we'll
put it down on through the internet.
Yeah, we'll stream it.
As
the kids
good
say.
album. Yeah. So probably a lot of people listening to. Well, there's not a lot of people who listen to this, but those of you who are listening to this, Joan Osborne, Relish.
Yeah, and nothing to do with Sharon Osbourne.
Hopefully not. No.
No. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed that.
All right, that's
so,
okay.
so we can do another part of this.
Yeah, do another one next week if you like.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Or in a week or two's time or whenever.
Yeah. Because I got.
And this time I'll have time to revise, because you need to know I've turned up here and we've said, we're doing the debut albums tonight. Yeah. So I couldn't come up with all the boring information and the tracks of the albums that I have to make notes of these days.
Yeah. Well, that's why I limited mine to 5.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, we'll get Daz on then.
Get Daz.
So we've got Daz McCourt coming along today. He's an old mate of mine, and my sort of first memory of you, Daz, that I can remember, I'm sure we've met before, but my first memory was I'd come backstage after the gig, and you and the band were seeing how long you could keep your face in the tea urn steam for.
Yeah. It was backstage at the AC/DC convention. There was this massive tea urn in the middle of a table, and we'd taken turns to hold our heads over in the steam to see who could hold it over the longest. We all looked like we had really bad sunburn.
Yeah.
Was that the convention in Wrexham?
Yeah.
Ah, right, the one that you and Andy did.
You and Andy Swile had done, yeah. Because I saw a couple of lads coming out covered in sweat, and I thought, fucking hell, they're probably still recovering from the gig. Then I saw the tea urn on full kilter.
No, it was just a bit of daftness, That's all the band was, really.
So wait, I want to come to in a bit, Daz. Singing songwriting stuff on the albums, because they're cracking albums. But what was it like being in that tribute band then?
It's weird being in a tribute band, because if you're in a sort of ordinary covers band, you go out to a pub or a club and you play, and that people will say, oh, that was good, or that was shit, or whatever. And you just get your money and you go home. When you're in a tribute band, it's like being in a goldfish bowl.
Yeah.
It's everywhere you go, you get people who, for better or for worse, they follow you around, and they think because they follow on the band, that they personally know you, you know, and you become almost like a public commodity. And it's, and I didn't like it one bit, you know. I'd come from sort of playing, my background was playing in spit and sawdust saloons in a rock band. And then all of a sudden I was sort of thrust into the limelight with this tribute band, and I never liked it. I never liked the attention or anything like that. I always used to think it was a bit, it's like the other lads loved it, you know, they lapped it up. It was like, and I was always the one that sort of shied away from it.
Yeah. Because you know, on stage, you got a great presence, Daz, when you're on stage. You know, you do sort of own the room, as we call in the thing. Right. I always love watching you live. It's always a fucking great show, like, and you're a great frontman.
That's nice of you to say so. It was a bit weird when I first started doing it, because I always used to sing and play the guitar.
Yeah.
In the pub bands that I was in, and it was, I suppose my guitar was like my crutch in a way.
Yeah.
So when I got the AC/DC gig, I didn't have a guitar to hide behind, you know. So it took a good year or two before I was comfortable with what I was doing. And then it sort of became water off a duck's back. It was sort of going through the motions, singing the same 24 songs every night, you know.
Yeah.
But at first it was difficult. I used to get a bit of stage fright and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
what was the band called, Daz?
It was called Back in Black.
Okay, righto.
So
was it mostly John Brown Johnson stuff you did, or did you do Bon Scott stuff as well?
We did both. Because I mean, there's a lot of AC/DC tributes on the go, but there's not very many Brian Johnson ones.
No.
You tend to find the predominantly Bon Scott. So when the guy, our lead guitarist, when he formed the band, he wanted to do specifically Brian Johnson, so he could play sort of music from both eras.
Yeah. And so do you find a difference in singing Bon Scott?
Yeah,
Brian Johnson.
I mean, God rest his soul, but the Bon Scott stuff is a lot easier to sing.
Right. Okay. That was going to be my next question. But, okay. Right.
Did you ever meet Brian Johnson there? No.
Yeah, once. Yeah, at a gig at Newcastle City Hall. He was playing at the same time in Newcastle with Geordie, you know, the band he was in before.
Yeah. Well, they played in Wrexham, you know.
Did they?
Yeah, once. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they were doing a show at I think the Opera House in Newcastle the same night as we were playing the City Hall. So he turned up in his chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce outside, parked on the double yellow lines, just walked straight in. He had a carry bag full of Jack Daniels. And he sort of shook our hands, pat us on the head, say, "Have a good gig, lads. I've got to go, because I've got a show of my own to do."
Okay, brilliant.
That was it was quite good, that.
Yeah, that was cool. We were talking earlier, Daz, and you'll remember this place. We were talking about sort of favourite venues and stuff like that, and one that I remembered was the Hotel California. Do you remember that place? We'd come see it a few times in Birkenhead.
Yeah, in Birkenhead, yeah, I remember it well. We did some great gigs there. It was really good venue. You know, I remember the first time we went there, because it was literally just outside the Mersey Tunnel on a piece of waste ground.
Yeah. No, that's Birkenhead, mate.
Yeah, well, when we first played there, we got there and I thought, where the hell are we? What, you know, it's like, what a shithole. And but it turned out it was one of the best gigs I'd ever done.
It was a good venue. It was a great venue in California.
Crowd were amazing, you know. There's a difference between sort of crowds. I'm saying down south, Liverpool is south of me, but between crowds up north and crowds down south, it's like the Hotel California, they could charge a tenner a head on the door and people would pay it, no questions asked, and they come in and enjoy the night. You put a £1 cover charge on a door up here and they mourn their heads off and they probably wouldn't turn out to see you.
Right. But I remember one of the nights at the Hotel California, Daz, he put us all up for the night. And he said, you can doss upstairs. And I think one of the lads, I don't know who it was from your band, was desperate for a dump. And he'd gone in one of the rooms, had one, but it was only the next day we realised it was just the toilet seat. It wasn't plumbed in. Renovations, one of them just fucking put a bog in a room.
Yeah, that was the rhythm guitarist. Yeah.
So,
didn't live that one down for quite a while.
No.
And he's got the crap.
Yeah. Got the crap. Dun, dun, dun. So your own music, Daz, which I'm loving on Spotify at the moment. I tell you what I'm interested in is I work in like the creative industries, and I'm always interested how people come up with stuff. Like, where do you fucking start writing a song? Is it do you start with guitar, or do you get an idea when you're driving? How does it work?
Sometimes I can be out walking the dog and I'll get like a tune in my head, or I'll think of something to write a song about. But usually I start just messing about with chords on the guitar.
Right.
Lyrics, I tend to write them separately, and then I usually just put them to music that I write. So, because I find lyrics difficult because I don't like lyrics that don't make a lot of sense. I like them to make sense,
Right.
So some of the songs are a bit daft and throwaway, but most of them, there's a lot of sort of thought and effort goes into the lyrics.
So they must have a story or some sort of meaning. And
yeah. I mean, like personal experiences that I've had,
yeah, absolutely.
Sort of various things that's gone on in my life, but yeah, I usually mess about with a few chords on the guitar and then see if I can sort of hum a melody over the top, and then I'll find some song words that go with it, and so then I'll tweak the song words, and eventually something comes out the other end, like Sausage Factory.
Yeah. So does you like your mood affect what you're writing, or say if you're halfway through a song or something and you're having a great time when you start it, you're having a shit time halfway through the song, do you like Bennett go to another song, or do you crack on in the same headspace? How does it work?
If I get like that, I tend to just leave it for a while.
So you're ready to go back to it and get stuff done.
Yeah. I mean, there's 3 albums that I've got on there. One of them is I wrote and recorded that when I was in a really weird state of mind, and you can sort of tell because the songs on it they're a bit bizarre, some of them. I mean, I'm dead proud of them. I wouldn't have released them if I wasn't, but compared to my other stuff that I do, you could tell that my frame of mind wasn't particularly right at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably does influence the way I write. Yeah.
So you do everything on the albums yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I play everything.
Fair effort, that, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're looking on your screen there. How many guitars have you got behind you?
I can see 4.
Is that a fucking Fender shop there, mate?
I think I've got 16.
Really?
Yeah, I just keep telling the wife that I need it for a certain song or something.
Tune differently.
Yeah. Or I just don't tell her and hide it.
We were talking about this when we were kids with albums.
With albums.
You had your bit of pocket money. And
your dinner money.
Your dinner money. You'd just be spending it on music, and suddenly you had 80 albums.
Yeah, the amount of records I loaned on a Monday afternoon. Yeah.
So, Daz, who would be your sort of inspirations in the music world then? We obviously love rock and all the rest of it, but
I'm more sort of, when I was a kid, believe it or not, I was a big Bruce Springsteen fan.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that he's sort of championed the working man, the blue collar workers and all the rest of it, and all of his songs told a story.
Yeah.
And
Have you read his book?
Eh?
Have you read Springsteen's book, his autobiography?
Yeah.
I think it's a superb piece of writing. I love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But yeah, I was a massive Springsteen fan, but my mum and dad sort of brought me up with rock music, you know. One of the first albums I got was off my dad. It was High Voltage, AC/DC.
Not a bad start, like that. Not a bad start.
Yeah, so, and that's the first album I actually bought myself with my own money was Number of the Beast, Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
I was 9-year-old, you know, so up and bought it. But yeah, I'm influenced by lots of things. There's a guy called, I think you've met him, Viv, because I think you put him on the phone to me one night when you were at some awards ceremony. There's a guy called Ginger.
Yeah, it's Wild
Arts.
Yeah.
Wild Arts, yeah. He's a songwriter. He's from South Shields, which is just up the road from where I live. And he's probably the most underrated songwriter that this country's produced in the last 50 years. The guy's an absolute genius when it comes to songwriting, and he doesn't get half the credit he deserves. And I think he's been a big inspiration for me, you know, because I think with similar sort of mentalities, you know, working class northern, you know, don't give a fuck type of thing, you know.
And great band live.
Yeah, I never saw them. I went to the TIV to see them and it was sold out.
Oh, was it?
I never got in, but I got their Don't Be Happy, Just Worry album. Got that on vinyl. Got it from Penny Lane.
Right.
Yeah, great band. He's struggling at the moment, though, old Ginger. I was reading the thing. He's in like a retreat, just trying to. He's having a few mental health problems, and a guy I know, Mick Brown, he puts bands on. I think he must be looking after business for Ginger at the moment. He put something up on Facebook saying he's all right, but he's having to take it easy, and you know, he's just sort of building himself up again.
Yeah, he started posting stuff on Instagram again, saying that he's feeling a lot better with himself. So
yeah, oh good.
But yeah.
Yeah, we were just going through then, Daz, a list of
the venues, isn't it?
Some of our favourite venues. You know, and we sort of like we dropped out. My mind dropped at the Apollo Manchester. So, you know, where's some of the places you've been that just fucking rock it for you, mate?
When I was a kid, I used to go to Newcastle City Hall.
Yeah, I've never been. Have you been there?
No. I've been to one gig in Newcastle when I was at the Arena place. Right. Newcastle City, that's where Emerson, Lake and Palmer recorded Pictures at an Exhibition.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
On Motorhead there. I was deaf for about a week after.
Yeah, I used to love that feeling, Daz, when your ears were ringing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much fun now. I've got tinnitus. But yeah, the City Hall. I used to. Doncaster Dome was the one that I used to go to quite a lot.
I've never heard of that.
Because it's not actually a dome; it's a big square building.
Was it?
But, yes, I saw a few bands there when I was younger. I'm trying to think venues. We used to have bands come to Whitley Bay Ice Rink, which.
We were talking about that earlier because we had one near us, Deeside Leisure Centre, and your feet were freezing after you'd been there, and they put like a coconut matting on the ice. And I said to Vivi, so they had one at Whitley Bay too. There was an ice rink. Yeah,
Whitley Bay. I saw him getting there. Believe it or not.
Yeah. I quite like your neck of the woods, Dad. We've had some good nights up there, mate. I mean, going on Newcastle and stuff.
Yeah, we have. I've had a few great nights when you've come up. Yeah.
Yeah, mind you have some fucking crackers down here as well, mate. As well.
Oh, without a doubt, I've had some great nights down your neck of the woods.
I tell you what I want to ask you as well. I think I mentioned to you when we were chatting last week is I love your album covers as well, Daz, because you design them yourselves, don't you? So you don't just fucking write it, play it, you fucking design it as well, mate.
Yeah. It was just the first one wasn't much cop because I was still sort of getting to grips with it a bit. But I made a bit more of an effort on the second and the third one, and I'm quite pleased with them. I'm pleased with how they turned out.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause, there was no real sort of inspiration behind it. I mean, the third album is called The Madhouse and the Mortuary, which...
Yeah, I love that album cover. It's great.
I love the name.
I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, it was. So I just came up with the idea of a sort of old mental hospital with an old gurney trolley, you know, like what you see in horror films, type of thing. So I thought that sort of summed it up nicely. But what it was I've got bipolar disorder, and I was having a bit of a shit time of it a few years ago, and a so-called friend of mine said to us, "Look, mate, you're halfway between the madhouse and the mortuary," and it stuck with me, you know. And I sort of banked it for future use. I always remembered it, and I always thought I'll do something with that eventually. So I ended up writing a song called "The Madhouse and the Mortuary," and I just named the album after that, you know. So there's always like a reason for something in my songs.
Yeah.
Or I try to anyway.
Yeah. So if somebody was getting into you for the first time, Daz, which order of albums did they get into, mate?
I'll probably say listen to the third one first, because that's the best produced out of the three, and it's also got a lot of songs on there that I'm very, very proud of.
Do you produce them yourself, Daz? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it all yourself and mix them and oh, nice.
One man band, but the third one it's got a lot of personal songs on it, and it's the one out of the three that I'm very proud of.
Mm-hmm.
The first album it was songs I'd wrote from the age of sort of 17 onwards, and I thought I'd better record them just for posterity, otherwise I'll forget them.
Yeah,
that's why I recorded. But there's songs on there that sort of span 15, 20 years of my life, so they're all from different periods of my life, and each one tells a different story about something. And the third album, the weird one, it's called State of Me. I wrote and recorded it, the whole thing, in about a week when I was having a manic episode. And when I came back down to earth with a thump, I listened to it and I thought, you know what, it's actually not bad. It's quite good. And so yeah, it's probably the heaviest out of the three of the albums. It's got the most heavy songs on it, and you can always it's got a sort of frantic feeling to it.
Yeah.
So you know when you're recording an album and you're putting tracks down or you listen to a vocal, how critical are you of yourself or of the playing on it? I mean, I suppose I'm asking you, what's your quality? How do you get your quality control? If you're want a better expression, was it just gut instinct?
Yes, yeah. I tend to listen to everything back separately. You know, I listen to the guitar part or the bass, keyboard part, and usually if something's not right, I'll pick it up there and then I'll fix it. But when I listen to the songs now, like I've had a year or two to listen to them, I still pick up things that are wrong in them. You know, I think, oh shit, I've missed that. No, I should have done something about that. But I try to polish them as much as I can before I release. I'm more critical of my vocals than anything else, because I like them to be in tune, and I like, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm straining. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely, yeah, of course.
So did you start as a singer, Daz, or did you start as a guitarist, or what was your sort of history then when you started to get into your music?
My dad was a drummer,
right,
and so I started off as a drummer. My dad taught us how to play the drums.
I didn't know that.
So I played keyboards as well, because my mum and dad forced me into piano lessons when I was a kid. But when I was a teenager, I taught myself to play the guitar, and after that, it was just a stream of bands where I just played the guitar. And then what happened was we lost the singer, and I sort of got shoved into the front and was told to sing one night, and I didn't want to, but I sort of ended up getting lumbered with the singer's job, singer guitarist, and just stayed like that for quite a while. But I never wanted to be a singer. You know, I'm happy just stand at the back with my guitar.
Yeah. And you know, that's good training though, isn't it, to be a singer and guitarist? It steads you in a good path, and if when you're doing your own sort of stuff that you're doing, Daz.
Also, I guess the piano lessons have too, haven't they? As much as you might have not liked doing them as a kid,
Yeah.
As you get older, you sort of you'd have regretted not doing it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I hate to admit it, but it has come in really handy over the years. Being able to read music and understand chord structures and scales and whatnot. It's been a bit of a blessing that they did force lessons. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, it's been nice chatting to you, Daz. So if we're going to go out on what one of your tracks, then what are we going to blast out?
I think put Shit Kicker Blues on. I think that's
Shit Kicker Blues.
That's the one you played for me last week.
Yeah, belting track. When did you write that, Daz?
I was just messing about with my guitar one day and I came up with the riff. And I sort of forgot about it for a while, and I'd recorded it on my phone, and I was listening to it one day, and it's probably one of the only songs I wrote where the lyrics are just throwaway sort of lyrics. I just sort of wrote them just to fit the song, because I wanted it sort of like a dirty, bluesy, rock and roll type of song, and so that I wrote the lyrics to match that.
Cracking fucking riff on it though. We were tapping our feet in.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I'd say it was last week you were playing me the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of the songs that would go well with this podcast, I think.
Yeah, cool. And where does everyone find you, Daz? I know you're on Spotify, but are you on anything else?
Yeah, iTunes. I'm on all the digital platforms.
So just search for Daz McCourt.
Yeah, just search for Daz McCourt. And every penny I make from streams or downloads, I give to Mind, the mental health charity.
Nice one. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great cause then. That's a great cause. So, well, Daz, it's been great catching up with you, mate. I hope we can get you back on at some stage.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for asking me.
So do you actually go out and gig at all now? Or do you put a band behind you and go out and gig, or you just record?
I've been in bands sporadically, and I've sort of sang as a depth singer for other bands, but I've not.
Do you not do your own stuff live?
No. I've knocked bands on the head now. I just quite happy just writing on me own.
I was going to say, would you come up and watched you?
Yeah.
No, I'll never say never. I might join another one. Just watch this space.
Yeah, indeed. Right.
Brilliant, mate.
Right, bro.
Thanks for that.
Good to catch up. Yep. We'll leave you to go off and write another couple of songs, Daz.
No bother. Well, thanks for having us.
No worries. I'll see you soon, mate.
All right, cheers.
All right, cheers, Daz.
Cheers, Daz.
I'm now going to blast out Kick Shitter Blues.
Or Shit Kicker Blues, even.
Shit Kicker Blues by the infamous Daz McCourt. Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Steel wheel screaming like a bitch in heat. So come on and take a ride on my back seat. Cause if a dream's worth chasing and you want it all, you gotta quit making it a free fall home. And if a dream's worth chasing like a stolen kiss, you gotta stop living your life like this, yeah. Shining, but I still can't see. What the hell has this town done to me? Another dead-end sign on a dead-end street. I need a good time bar or I can plant my feet. Cause if a dream's worth chasing and you want it all, you gotta quit making it a free fall home. And if a dream's worth chasing like a stolen kiss, you gotta stop living your life like this, yeah. for all. If the dream's worth chasing like a stoner